What's up, everybody? Welcome back. And today I'm going to teach you guys how to make pine pitch or Native American glue or tack glue. It's what the Native Americans used to use to glue arrowheads onto sticks. And it's a very strong, useful glue. It's a lot stronger than your typical buy at the store glues. And you can make it from things you find out here in the nature. And it is super useful and versatile, and once you know how to use it and you've made it and used it, it becomes one of your favorite glues. I actually used some in a carving challenge I did a couple weeks ago for a macawaddle, and I also compared it to some typical glue I had in the shop, and all the glass fell out of that piece, but the piece with the pine pitch held up great. Now, pine pitch is super easy to make once you know how to. First thing you're gonna need is some pine sap. Now, I think it's 1 out of 10 pine trees will produce sap, and you can find these large resin clumps. I collected it into this bandana while I was out on a hike and just kept it around. But you can see it's all kind of balled together. But this is what it ends up looking like. It's just big, sticky, squishy sap that comes out of a pine tree. And this makes some of the best glue you can find. Now, what you're also going to need with this is some charcoal ashes. This stuff that's black all the way through. Luckily, there's a bunch over here by this fireplace. And what you're also going to need is some wood chips. Now, I already had some wood chips from another experience, but you can make this with a saw. I have a silky saw and a saw on my Leatherman. You can also use rabbit poop. Some people swear by rabbit poop. I think the wood shavings do just fine. So what we're gonna do, I have this old tobacco tin that I think is gonna be great for this. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a bunch of these pieces of coal, get them down into here, and you want quite a bit. You want about a 50-50 ratio of this to your sap, and you can tell I have a lot of sap. So we're just gonna collect these. They'll be nice and light. And you're going to want to break these up once you get them all collected into the tin. We'll just do a little collecting right here. Try and get all these good pieces. Now, any of the clumps that still have pieces of wood inside of them, once you're breaking it up, you'll want to take those chunks out to get it as pure as possible. Now you can use a stick or really whatever you have at your disposal. I'm gonna take my Leatherman and just start breaking this up into a finer powder inside of this tin right here. Get a flatter rock. Now, if I had a mortar and pestle, this would probably work a whole lot better. But I don't, and we adapt and overcome. Maybe a little rock might do it. Just doing some smushing with this rock. Just try and break this up the best you can, as fine as you can. All right, once you got it into a finer powder like that, you can even break it up more so you don't have as much of these chunks. But I think this will do just fine, and I can break up some more. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split this in about half. Look how beautiful that sap is. That is amazing. And you're gonna get pieces of wood and stuff like that inside here. But for now, we're just gonna take that piece right there. Now, this is extremely flammable. It is great for making a fire and prolonging a fire. It'll burn for a long time and it burns really hot. But in the case of making pine pitch, you don't want to stick this directly in a fire. You want to stick it right next to the coals right here so it can slowly melt. We'll come back in a little while and see how she's turning out. See you in just a sec. All right, I put the lid on to get it to boil a little faster. You don't really want it to boil, which it is right now, but it works out. Now this is going to be extremely hot, and if this pitch, when it's this hot, touches your skin, you will have a very bad day. But I want to start mixing this in with the charcoal. Oh God, do I love that smell. That is one of the best smells in the world. So I start mixing that up. Now it's a little watery in consistency, and that's when I want to start adding in the sawdust to give it just a little more structure. Now the big thing when you're looking for pine trees, you want to find these clumps, and you can find them, like I said, 1 in 10 trees that you look at on the outside will have sap pouring out the middle, and you'll normally find it where there was a damage or a cut or something of that nature. And it can be in a lot of different shapes, colors, and sizes, but once you get used to finding it, you'll know what you're looking for. Now I'm gonna put it up against this rock so I can start breaking down these other pieces. That's why I like to have a sturdy stick, and I sawed the end off so it was flat so I can start breaking up these clumps that we still had of the coals and start mixing it around, getting it all consistent and gooey, and this will make some amazing glue. Now what's nice about this glue is once it cools down, it hardens into like a malleable putty. And all you have to do to reuse this glue is heat it up again. Now there's a lot of guys who have used seashells to make it. You can melt it inside of other rocks. Tuna cans work great, just whatever you can find to use. Now a lot of people will mix this up kind of like this, up and around a stick, and that way they can just heat up the stick and move on. I kind of like having them in these containers so I can carry them a little easier in my bags, because you never really know when you want to use it. And you want to get this nice gooey consistency. And it's already starting to harden up on me. It's all over my Leatherman. That's gonna need some cleaning. But that's all right. That's what we got bandanas for, right? But you can see I've got some nice pitch glue right here. And it's already starting to cool down. And what's nice about this is I can use my gas stove or a fire and just melt the bottom of this. and I've got ready to use glue, applique it to a stick. Let's see, this is still nice and warm. We'll warm this up. And you can see it's pretty hot stuff, and I can hurry and press that stick down right there. And transfer it like that. And you can see now that it's drying off that it's a super sticky substance. And I could even glue these two sticks together. We could even try that. I'll just leave that right there. We'll come back to it in a minute. Try and clean this off my Leatherman. Really tough stuff when it's on there. It is some sticky shit. If you've ever had pine sap on your clothes, you know it is a nightmare to get off. Just wiggle that around and see, already sticking to my bandana. But now that it's cooled down, it's kind of tacky, and you can kind of morph it, and you can see it sticking to my skin. Super sticky stuff right there. And it's kind of like a tar. If you played with tar out on the asphalt when you were a kid, kind of the same concept, but a lot more sticky, and it's made from natural materials. Now I'm gonna let this cool down, clean it up a bit, and throw the lid on. And now I got pine pitch glue, and I have some extra sap for the next time I want to make glue or make some fire starters out of this. Now guys, thanks for joining me. This has been how to make pine pitch glue, a series on the channel. I'm trying to do more videos on wilderness prepared, survival skills, outdoor skills. Hopefully by this time I've come up with a good name that'll probably be in the name of the video. But thank you guys for joining me on this experience making pine pitch glue. Go get lost, find a way. I'll see you in the next one.